Here we are at video 4, problem 37. Okay, choose the reason the triangles are congruent. The first thing I notice is that I have the core 4 right here, but then I also have cannot be proven, so that is a possibility when I'm looking at this. So don't be freaked out if you cannot find something. So these overlap by the reflexive property. I'm going to add markings there. So what I have right now is a side, and a side of one triangle, the triangle that's on top, side, side, side. Then in the other triangle, though, I do not have that exact same information. I have an angle, a side, an angle, and then another side. So is any of that the same in both? No. And so what we're going to do is we're going to say it cannot be proven congruent based on what's in the picture currently. Okay. All right, let's go again. What kind of triangle is this? We always start with that. These markings are not on here for fun. So what kind of triangle is this? This has two angles congruent, which means that two of the sides are going to be congruent. Those are going to be the legs that are congruent. And so this is an isosceles triangle. That's the converse of the isosceles triangle theorem that says that those legs must be congruent. And so it says to find the value of x. What is the value of x? And so to do that, we're going to set this leg, x plus 11, equal to this leg, 3x plus 1. 3x plus 1 equals x plus 11. I like to put a 1 here. Everybody says there's an understood 1, but people seem to struggle with that. So I'm going to go through the algebra rather quickly. So x is equal to 5. What is the value of x? That's what I found. Plug it in and check yourself before you wreck yourself. This would be 16. This would also be 16, so I know I did it right. Okay. Which postulate or theorem can be used to prove the triangle is congruent? Write a congruency statement, meaning you're not going to say not enough information on this because there is, in fact, a congruency statement. And so, again, I've got an angle marked the same as an angle in a triangle and another set of angles as well. AA is not one of my shortcuts. However, this overlapping side in the middle by the reflexive property allows me to add a side. And so this becomes the angle, side, angle shortcut where the side is included in the middle. It's sandwiched in between that pink and that yellow angle. And so our triangle congruent statement, I get to name the first one however the heck I want. So say I went ABC. That, I kind of think of it like tattoos. That has one arc to two arcs to no arcs. So I'm going to do the same thing for the other triangle. Triangle one arc is B. Angle with two arcs is A. To no arcs is D. Triangle ABC is congruent to triangle BAD. That is my congruency statement. It says that two triangles are in fact congruent to each other by the angle side angle shortcut. Okay. Which postulate or theorem can be used to prove these triangles congruent? EFG and IHG. Again, I notice I've got all four of these, but then I also have none of the above. So let's see what I can add to this picture. Right now I have a right angle. So the first thing I always check for is hypotenuse leg, but notice that hypotenuse leg is not on any of these. And so we're not going to be using hypotenuse leg, but let's check and see what can I add. Around G, I'm going to add vertical angles. And so this becomes an angle, let me highlight it, an angle congruent to an angle, another angle congruent to another angle, and then the side that is not touching both of them, but only one of them. So when I list that, remember, I'm going to list the angle, and I'm going to list the side third, okay? That angle and that angle do not have a side in between it. It's missing it. It would have to be here. If I was going to say angle, side, angle, so that is angle, angle, side. So that is D. That's how those triangles are congruent. Okay? What is the third congruence needed to prove triangle ABD congruent to CBD by angle, angle, side? So again, we're looking to see the side is listed third, not in between those angles. So this is the reflexive property. I get to add a side here. And so what would I need to add? An angle, and a side. It could be these two. Would need to be congruent. So angle ABD is congruent to CBD. But notice here, y'all, this is kind of tricky. This is actually really tricky. It's probably one of the hardest ones we've had so far. It says B or C as an option. So if B is right and C is right, then I'm going to choose E. So let's check C as well. So this is where you have to read the question all the way through. Is AD going to be congruent to DC? Would that help for angle, angle, side? Okay, so let me start from scratch. AD. I want to go angle, angle, side. So this one right here. There we go. So this side is congruent by the reflexive property. And so if you added that information, this is what it would look like. That would be side, side, angle. That is not one of my shortcuts, and it's not what they asked for. So it's not C, which means it's also not going to be E. Okay, so B is my only thing that would make this work for angle, angle, side. We needed to add an angle and not a side, so I knew it wasn't A, and I knew it wasn't C. Okay? ABD and CBD. DBA, CDB. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, use the diagram below. Which additional information is needed to prove these triangles congruent? So let's just go one by one. So we want to prove them congruent. And so we've got a side congruent to a side and a side congruent to a side. If B and E are the same, what it's saying is that you could use angle, side, angle. B and E. That is not side, side, angle. I'm sorry, that is not side, angle, side. That is side, side, angle. So it's not that one. I know it's not that one. Change to a pen. I know it's not that one. Okay? I'm going to keep going. Okay, we've got a side congruent to a side. They say, okay, then what if you add BC is congruent to FE? That would be by the side, side, side postulate. Okay, side, side, side postulate. So it is going to be B. B is correct so far. But again, I want you to notice there's multiple options here. I know it's not answer choice D, A, or B because we've already said that that's wrong. A is wrong, so it can't be that one. So now we just need to check letter choice D and see if that's also true. D says that A is congruent to D. A is congruent to D by side, angle, side. So let's check that. If I've got a side and a side already congruent, boom, 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 boom. If we know that angle A is congruent to D, then we could use side, angle, side. That is true. And so since that one's true, I'm going to pick this one, which is B or C. This is a very tricky question because you have to know how to get all parts right. All right, 43 says these triangles are congruent. Which of the following statements is not true? So we're really going to rely on this congruent statement. Is B in the same spot as Y? Yes. So I know that one's true. We're looking for what's not true. Okay? Is AB first, second in the same spot as XY first, second? Yes. Is angle CBA, which goes reverse 3, 2, 1, the same as ZXY? No, that says ZYX. Okay? So it should go ZYX 3, 2, 1. It goes ZXY. So I'm thinking it's this one because that's false. But let's keep going and make sure the other two are also true. Is AC first, third in the same spot as XZ first, third? Yes. And is angle BAC 2, 1, 3 in the same spot as YXZ? Yes. So all of these are true. Which one is not true? C is not true. C is not true. C is false. Okay. What is the measure of angle H if EFG is congruent to HIJ? So let's notice this first. E is in the same spot as H in our congruent statement, so those angles will be the same. F is in the same spot as I, so those will be the same. Just color coding here, so I can mark a 65 on both of those. Okay, and then last but not least, we've got, change colors, 35G is in the same spot as J. So I'm going to put a 35 over there as well. 35 goes here. Okay, so how do I find the measure of angle H? Angle H is just going to be 180 minus 35 minus 65. 180 minus 35 minus 65. That leaves an 80-degree angle for H, which is what I just found. It also leaves an 80-degree angle for E. So 80 degrees. 80 degrees. It also wants to know in the diagram above, EG is equal to what? EG is in the same spot as, let's see, that is first and then third, as HJ. But we don't know either of those pieces, so that cannot be determined. That currently cannot be determined unless we had more information. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. It doesn't ask for a number. It just asks who it is equal to. Okay, so what is it equal to? That segment is going to be equal to EG. The length of EG is going to be the same as the length of 1, 2. EG will be first, third, HJ. HJ. Those would have equal length. Now, can we actually find what it is? No. So the way that that's worded is a little bit tricky. HJ is what we have on there. We can't actually find the length, but those two segments would be congruent. Okay. In the diagram above, how do you know what angle F is? Well, we've already filled it in, thankfully. Angle F is 65 degrees, angle F. Okay. And then the last two. We are given that X is congruent to N, so let me color code that, 20 and 20. Queen of color coding, 20. Okay, and Z is congruent to O. Z and O are congruent, so there's Z, there's O. Okay, that can also be 5x minus 10. I can copy that into both, so that is 5x minus 10. And we want to find the value of X. And so the first thing I notice is that all three of these should add up to 180. All three of these values should add up to 180. And I could also copy the 75 here as well for the Y. And so I can go 20 plus 75 plus 5x minus 10 equals 180. I'm going to combine some like terms. I'm going to get, let's see, that'd be 20 plus 75. I'd get 85. 85 plus 5x equals 180. I'd get 5x equals 95. So x is going to be equal to 19. X is equal to 19. It just wanted me to find the value of x, so that's where I'd get to stop. I just did. Then it wants me to go through and find the measure of angle z. That's where they just want you to plug it in. So what is the measure of angle z? The measure of angle z, the expression for it, is equal to 5x minus 10. So we can just plug in what we just found. 5 times 19 minus 10. 5 times 19 minus 10, measure of angle z is going to be equal to 85 degrees. That's what it wanted me to find, and that is what I just found. Tune in for video 5.